Welcome back. To summarize, over the last couple of weeks after the last video, my internet's gone and, well, become very unreliable. Midterms began, and of course, there's some sort of family drama and other related things that happened. Anyway, I had originally planned to go and do another video, which I had prepared before, and I kind of ran into some issues in the sense of the video got all the way to the end, and I finished all of it in general, and it got corrupted, and tried to fry my computer. And by fry my computer, I mean like I'd open it and it would be like, nah, computer's program stops responding. Anyway, without a further ado, I don't want to delay you guys per se, because that's not why you straight click the video. Here is why Gundham Tanaka was wrong in chapter 4 when he said that the victim, Nekomaru, or Mekamaru, spoiler of course, would have been a harder and more difficult challenge of a trial if he had killed him instead. I disagree, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it below in the comments. If Nekomaru would have made the case easier or harder overall in the end of the day if he had murdered instead. Starting off, there is no doubt of Nekomaru's strength in body. In a situation where he would kill Gundham or anyone else in that matter, the strength in mind is not nearly on the same level as his body. Nekomaru is shown to be, throughout the game, easily emotional, quick to action, not necessarily thinking overall a lot of the time. After Trial 1, Nagito went missing for a period of time. Kazuichi was technically the brains of the experience of tying him up to starve him, and he worked with Nekomaru to do that. Nekomaru was the muscle in it, but Nekomaru, under basic conversation, breaks down slipping that they've been holding him and not necessarily caring for him and not feeding him, to the point of even starving him where he could die and Monokuma could call a trial. Throughout most trials and chapters, his sense of humor can only be defined as toilet humor. In the instance where he would murder Gundham, emotionally / mentally, he'd trip up or give in. Reality is neither of them wanted to kill everyone to escape. That's implied, that Gundham, did it not only for his hamsters, but also for everybody else, and that it's not truly living. Nekomaru cared enough about just Akane to take a rocket to his gut and risk dying and lose his humanity, essentially becoming a robot. So to turn his back and lie to Akane and everyone else just to survive and kill them and sacrifice him on his own is not fitting of his character. He just couldn't do it. Let's say he kills Gundham. What would the scene look like? Well, for one, they would be at Strawberry Tower again fighting. Nekomaru could pound Gundham to bloody mush on the ground, which would leave even more of a brutal scene, which could tie him to the thing. He could choke him with his large metal hands or drop a pillar on him, crushing him. In general, all of these outcomes, I would say, would be more violent or leave the scene more destructive and destroyed than before, and would point to somebody of higher strength and ability to do a lot more damage, which would be basically him. Only he could really move a pillar like that. We even saw in the game itself that Akane and others could not move it. Where Gundham came up with a plan and had tools to, like the fresh hammer, to plant and other goods to manipulate the crime scene, he would also try to control the murder. Nekomaru would not, and may not even be able to do anything. He would be so panicked after committing murder that he wastes precious time thinking, and the groups might even enter necessarily to see him with the dead body. Let's say he murders and leaves just to go upstairs to the Strawberry dorms, after just kind of getting the blood off or trying to do whatever various things, or with plenty of evidence left behind, more so than Gundam's case. He would be basically approaching from the stairwell or disappear randomly. Now he could claim that, oh, that's not true, but he was seen going down. There's no way about it. This would make Nekomaru be the prime suspect on this alone at the start of the trial. Then eventually it would be discovered every clock was wrong for Tai Chi, which was done by Gundham beforehand as planning for the murder. The problem with this, though, is that the only clock that works and was able to go to Tai Chi on time would be Nekomaru's radio clock inside. Nekomaru would be the only one who'd always make it to Tai Chi in time and be there in that situation. Claim he's a witness or whatever, but the reality is he'd start stumbling over his own words. And he'd also, personally as himself, he can't be like, oh, I just am late, because he's never really late for trainings like that. Nekomaru's body, personality, and more are extremely loud, to the point of robotic movements may give him away as well, just by how loud he moves and how loud he is overall as a person. At the end of the day, Gundham was just wrong. Gundham was very thoughtful, was thinking very deeply in his trial to try and keep himself alive, as well as just necessarily keep the trial going. He didn't just scream out random things or whatever. And at the end of the day, he was much more of a deeper thinking killer than Nekomaru would end up being, and that would lead him to being in the harder trial overall. But what do you think? Feel free to put your comments down below again. If you want similar commentary videos or other Danganronpa content, just consider subscribing and turning the notification bell on. In general, this is just something I kind of do in my free time, but I'm also kind of just going to see where interest lies, and I'm a big fanboy of the series and I love it. So I'll be back soon with a new video, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. And yeah, peace out. Bye.
Worst case scenario, the killer was forced to appear in front of Fuyuhiko with the others.